Good evening, good evening. We'll give you guys a couple minutes to catch up. We're going to be having a good talk today about Kinesiotape, what it is, what it isn't, kind of give you guys an idea of why we use it, why some people may not like it, and see if we can kind of clear up some of the myths around it, okay? So we're going to give you guys 30, 45 seconds, kind of just get a couple people on here, and then we will go. Hopefully everybody's having a good time tonight. Got a fun little topic today, especially when we've got this fancy schmancy colored tape that my wife absolutely loves. All right. That's about enough. People can watch it later if they want to. So the biggest thing we're going to talk today about is Kinesiotape. As you can tell, I have some here with me. I likely use it in practice. If you've seen me before, I have likely taped you back together at some point, okay? So what we're going to do today is kind of dispel some of the common myths, some of the facts around it, why we use it, what it's good for, what it's not good for, and just some of the basic things about why it's a good idea, why it may not be a good idea. I have people that I tell not to tape. There's some real reasons there. So first thing, what is it? It is a cotton, elastic-based adhesive tape that is meant to be worn on the skin. So as you notice, you can pull and stretch the tape and let it come back together, okay? It comes in all kinds of fun patterns and colors and everything like that. When I was back in my old practice, one of the things that everybody loved was getting lime green and pink, and the girls would come back in and they would have little watermelon seeds drawn on it. Hey, whatever floats your boat, right? So the biggest thing that we need to discuss about this, what is it for? Why do people use it? The biggest reason, it's to aid in recovery, okay? This is not a magic heal-all. It never has been. It's never been marketed as such, at least with the companies that I've been affiliated with. Personally, just full disclaimer, I am a rock doc. I use rock tape very, very frequently. I have used literally every other tape. Everything from Theratape to Spider-Tech, Kinesio, KT, Luco. I mean, you name it, I've probably used it, and this is the one that I landed on for a reason. On top of the fact that they have some awesome little slogans on the back of their tape that just kind of makes it a little bit fun. It's like this one here. It says, "It ain't what you eat, but how you chew it." Sure. Sounds good, and just all kinds of fun with this, and they always have fun patterns that you get to mess with. So one of the biggest things we're going to talk about today is what are the misconceptions. I want to address some of the reasons that people bash on tape. There's a lot of people who just don't care for it, and I'll tell you this: the vast majority is because they either don't understand it or they've read some really superficial research that they have not done their due diligence on it. Unfortunately, there are some people also out there throwing out some rather big claims about what their tape can do, and the research just doesn't support a lot of it. So we're going to kind of dispel some of those myths today. What the misconceptions? That it's a magic heal-all. No, sorry. If it was a magic heal-all, every single one of us would walk around every day covered in tape from head to toe, feeling better about ourselves. Not really the case. A compression wrapping. This is the exact opposite of what Kinesiotape is actually designed to be. We'll get more into that in a minute. But the biggest misconception that I've heard, this is old research, kind of at the beginning of Kinesiotape, and it has been kind of pushed to the wayside many times. This is the idea that it can activate or turn off or on muscles. There used to be a thought that if you taped so say from one portion of the arm down to the other, and you started up here, you could activate a muscle, or you could turn off a muscle, or you could do whatever. The current research just isn't there. It doesn't show any of that. This is one of the reasons I choose to work with rock tape, because they are doing good research in this area, and they're trying to further the knowledge that we need to have for this as clinicians. What does it do? How does it work? This is where I get to have fun talking to my patients about it. The biggest thing that it does is it applies a decompression force. So it is not a compression wrapping. We're going to rep our CrossFit Lubbock t-shirt here, and you guys get to see how this works. So when I apply this tape with a stretch, I apply it to my shirt, tack it down. Look what happens. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but you can kind of see the little ridges showing up, okay? These little ridges, maybe if I lean forward a little bit, you can see it a little better. But these little ridges act as a lift by creating the pull apart. When it tries to pull the tape back together, it lifts the skin up just a little bit, and it allows for just a millimeter or two of extra drainage. This allows less downward force on the lymphatic drainage, on the blood flow, and allows swelling to move. It allows lymphatic drainage to move. So it basically just creates a better pump. It is a mechanical shift. It's not some magic craziness. The goal is to allow blood flow to move better and allow the bad byproducts to get out easier. Okay, this is why it works so well on swelling post-injury. That inflammatory drainage is so crucial, especially with new injuries. When I'm working on somebody and they are inflamed beyond all belief in a shoulder or a neck or something like that, we have to get that inflammation out. And one of the ways we do is with Kinesiotape. It just makes sense. The other one that's a little bit more out there, but when you start to think about it, makes a lot of sense, and I use it daily in practice, is for neurofeedback. Okay, so I put tape on my skin right there. Your body, 70% roughly of your nervous system is called proprioception, or joint sense, or how things touch your skin as well. So if 70% of your nervous system is, where is my joint, what is touching me, where am I at, guess what? That can override pain signals. That can also tell me I need to pay closer attention to this joint. So when I tape up a shoulder or an elbow, one of the biggest things it does is tell your brain, hey, pay attention to me. I'm important. We hear that a lot, but you know. By doing this, it allows patients to really hone in on and focus on what the issue truly is, and they can change their patterns a little bit. And by doing that, we get less pain. So it's not that it's some magic thing. It's the idea that you are telling your brain, pay attention to me, I need some help. So how do we use it? A couple different ways. One of the things that we do is we apply over injured areas. Injured tissues, it just helps drainage. That's really all it does. You can help with swelling, movement. You can help with those kind of issues. In the rehab process, this is where I love to work with Kinesiotape. So if I'm having a problem with someone who cannot activate their shoulder blades, say they're sitting here and this left shoulder blade is hiked up and the muscles that hold the shoulder blade are just not active. What I can do is I can have them pull that shoulder blade down and back into the position I want them to hold it in. I can tape it with a little bit of stretch, and then I tell them, I want you to feel the tape, don't feel the tape. Feel the tape, don't feel the tape. Because when you pull your arm down, it's pulling you into the position where I had you taped. It's just biofeedback. It lets you know, hey, you're doing it right. It's important. So by doing that, I can give them cueing at home for exercise without actually being there. Instead of poking on it and saying, hey, you need to feel it right here, I get them at the tape and I say, I need you to feel that pull, don't feel that pull. It's a great rehab tool, and if you're a doc or a provider out there and you're not using it, you're missing the boat on it, because it is fantastic for teaching your patients how to do an exercise appropriately. The other thing that we're doing, we can give you some feedback on proper joint movement. So if somebody is a throwing athlete and they're having issues with being able to go overhead, we tape that movement and they're going to feel that skin restriction, and it can actually give them enough feedback to change the motion the way we need it to. It's not shutting off muscles, it's not turning them on, it's not doing any of that stuff. It is strictly a neurological feedback thing. One that I use a lot that a lot of people don't realize you can is on pregnancy. Pregnancy, there's not a lot we can do on new moms. You know, we end up with a lot of swelling issues. We end up with some pain because of biomechanical changes. But you know what we can do? We can create a sling for that belly once it gets big enough. By doing it, we can actually redistribute that weight all the way up from the belly, and I take it all the way up to the back of the shoulder blades. By doing this, it changes how they're carrying that weight. And I'll tell you, from my wife, who's done it twice, and from other pregnant women that we have worked on, they love this tape job. It's fantastic. because it just redistributes where that weight is, and it changes their back, it changes their legs, it changes their feet, it changes all the places that these moms are dealing with. So with that being said, cautions. Everything has problems with it, right? No matter how good something is, there's always negatives. The biggest cautions to Kinesiotape is skin irritation. Some people are naturally irritated by adhesives, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. As providers, we can limit the amount of stretch we put on it, and that will not cause as much of an irritation on the skin. Rock tape also has 3 different levels of adhesive. They have the RX, which is designed for very sensitive skin. They have the original, which is for everybody pretty much. And then they have the H2O, which is designed with a third more adhesive. This is what I use on my athletes a lot because of sweat, and it helps stay on. But these contraindications, they're very rare, but I tell people that if you start to get itchiness and it's just getting really bad, go ahead and take it off. Get in a hot shower, let it heat up really, really good, peel up an edge, and just slide your hand down and roll the tape off. Don't rip it off. We're not trying to do a wax job here. I've seen many people take that top layer skin off because they think faster is better, and they just, and then it's a bad day. So just make sure that listen to your brain. You know, it's tape. It'll either work or it won't. If it doesn't work, fantastic. It was something that we tried, but it helps a lot more people than it doesn't. All right. The other thing that I have to be really cautious about is with my athletes. People think, oh, he taped me up. I'm great. I can do anything that I want to do. That's just not correct. Tape is not going to keep you from getting hurt. It might help you feel a little better, but if there is true structural damage, you're just going to end up hurting it more. Okay? So we have to make sure that, number one, we're keeping your activities under control. We have to keep them realistic. And then the other thing is just remind yourself, this is not going to keep me from breaking. The goal is to help you feel better, to help you move better. And if you can do that safely in your activity, then great. This is where the provider's knowledge comes in. And that leads right into the next thing. I get asked every day, can I do this myself? I tell people, yes, kinda. So the tape itself is just tape that has elastic built into it. The thing that you're coming to get done is the knowledge on what it does, the knowledge on how to tape it appropriately, how to keep skin reactions to a minimum, how to give you the proper biofeedback in areas that you need. And by doing this, it can help you improve. The biggest thing, like I said, is for rehab feedback. But we can teach our patients to do this, and I do this quite frequently, where somebody will say, hey, every time I do this activity, it gets a little irritated, but when we tape it, I feel like I don't regress as far in between visits. Great. We get you some tape, you tape it at home, make sure and leave a day or two in between tape jobs, that way it doesn't irritate the skin. It can be done, you just have to make sure you're doing it right, because if all you do is throw tape on your skin, you might as well go buy some duct tape. It'll probably be cheaper, and it's going to work about the same. Okay? It's not what the tape is, it's what the tape allows you to do. And so when we're talking about that, it's just really, really important. I do have some patients that just come in to get taped before some kind of event. It just helps them move a little bit better, okay? The last thing, tape types and companies. Each tape has its own little unique thing. Some of them are thinner, some of them are thicker, some have more stretch, more glue, less glue. The reason that I use rock tape, like I said, they're the ones that are doing the research. They're the ones that are doing the advanced clinical trainings. That's the rock doc thing I talked about earlier. They have this really cool wave pattern on the back of all the tapes. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, so see that little wave there? When we elongate it, it stretches out. This is what gives it that ability to strengthen, to pull back together. The tape itself, the other reason that I really enjoy using rock tape is because it has the exact same elasticity as skin. Skin will stretch 180% before it tears. The last couple companies that I've used have said 160%. One of them was as low as 120% stretch. So you're going to feel that stretch on the tape before you feel it on the skin. which I guess if the goal is limiting motion, that may be good. But the goal of Kinesiotape really isn't to limit motion. It's to give you that feedback to your brain and say, this is what we need to do. So I really like the fact that rock tape doesn't inhibit motion because it has the same stretch as what the skin has. So as a recap, we're just going to kind of run through. Tape isn't a heal-all. It works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for some. If something is a more a bigger issue than what tape can handle, it's not going to magically mask it and cover it up. It does help somebody feel better in the short run, though. But like I said, the biggest thing is just helping me rehab a patient better. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're trying to break some of the myths on what this stuff does. Yes, it's a cool tool, but just like anything, you can't use one tool and expect it to fix a problem it wasn't designed for. You know, if I'm trying to saw a piece of wood and I break out a screwdriver, I'm not going to have a good day. Okay, so if you're using it for what it's designed for, fantastic. You're going to have some cool results. If not, you're probably going to be one of those people that says no tape works, it's all worthless, and you might as well just waste your money. So if you have any questions, feel free, put them in the bottom of the comment section there, or PM me, and we can get in touch and talk a little bit more about it. And as always, if you have any other ideas, head over to Endurance Chiropractic and Sports Therapy on Facebook or Instagram. Shoot us a message. Let us know what you'd like to hear about, and we'll try and touch on all the topics that you guys enjoy. Y'all have a great one and enjoy your night. Bye.